Emily slammed the door behind her, the echo reverberating through the quiet suburban house in Seattle like a gunshot. Her heart pounded as she leaned against the wood, tears streaming down her face, clutching the crumpled letter that had just upended her world. "How could you do this to me, Mom?" she whispered to the empty hallway, the betrayal slicing deeper than any knife. It had started innocently enough, or so Emily thought. At 25, she was the epitome of the dutiful daughter, graduating top of her class from the University of Washington, landing a stable job as a software engineer at a tech firm in downtown Seattle, and always putting her family's needs first. Her mother, Margaret, a devout Catholic widow in her 50s, had raised Emily and her younger brother alone after their father's death in a car accident when Emily was 10. Margaret's life revolved around the church, community bake sales, and ensuring her children stayed on the right path. Emily had always strived to meet those expectations, burying her own desires deep inside. But then there was Sarah. They met at a coffee shop near Emily's office, where Sarah worked as a barista while pursuing her master's in social work. Sarah was everything Emily wasn't: outgoing, unapologetically queer, with short-cropped hair dyed in subtle blue hues and a laugh that filled rooms. Their first conversation was about nothing and everything. The rain in Seattle, favorite books, dreams deferred. Emily felt a spark she couldn't ignore, a pull toward Sarah that made her question the life she'd built. As weeks turned into months, stolen moments became a secret relationship. Emily justified it to herself. It was just exploration, nothing serious. But deep down she knew it was more. Sarah challenged her to confront her feelings, to stop hiding behind the facade of the perfect daughter. "You deserve to live your truth, Em," Sarah would say during their late-night walks along the Puget Sound, hands intertwined under the cover of darkness. The tension built slowly at first. Emily started skipping family dinners, claiming work deadlines. Margaret noticed her questions probing like needles. "Are you seeing someone, dear? You seem distracted." Emily lied, each falsehood a brick in the wall between them. She felt the guilt gnawing at her, the Catholic upbringing clashing with her burgeoning identity. Was she sinning? Was this love worth the risk? One evening, after a particularly intense argument with Sarah about coming out, Emily returned home to find Margaret sitting at the kitchen table, a stack of printed emails in front of her. Emily's stomach dropped. "What are those?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Margaret's eyes were red-rimmed, her face a mask of disappointment and anger. "I found these on your computer." Emails to her. "How could you, Emily? This isn't you. This is a phase, a mistake." Emily's world tilted. She had forgotten to log out of her personal email after using the family desktop. The invasion of privacy hit her like a slap. "You went through my things? That's not fair, Mom." "Fair? You're throwing away your life for some unnatural fling." Margaret's voice rose, echoing the sermons Emily had heard growing up. The church's stance on homosexuality was clear, a sin to be repented. Margaret had always been vocal about it, decrying those lifestyles during family discussions. The confrontation escalated. Emily defended her feelings, her voice shaking. "It's not a fling, Mom. I love her. And it's not unnatural. It's who I am." Margaret stood, her chair scraping against the floor. "No daughter of mine will live like that. You'll end this or you'll face the consequences." The threat hung in the air, unspoken but clear. Family or love? Emily stormed out, the door slam marking the first fracture. In the days that followed, Emily wrestled with her choices. She confided in Sarah, who urged her to stand firm. "Your mom might come around, but you can't keep living a lie." Yet Emily feared the fallout, the judgment from extended family, the whispers at church, the potential loss of her brother, who idolized their mother. Margaret, meanwhile, grappled with her own turmoil. She loved Emily fiercely, but her faith was her anchor. How could she reconcile the two? She prayed for guidance, attending extra masses, seeking counsel from Father Reynolds. "It's a test," he said. "You must guide her back." The pressure mounted. Emily's work suffered. She snapped at colleagues, her code riddled with errors. At home, silence reigned. Meals were eaten in separate rooms, conversations reduced to necessities. Then came the first betrayal. Margaret, desperate, reached out to Emily's aunt, a conservative relative in Texas. "She's involved with a woman," Margaret confided over the phone. "I don't know what to do." The aunt promised support but spread the word through the family grapevine. Soon, cousins were texting Emily, offering prayers laced with judgment. Emily discovered the leak when her phone buzzed with messages. "How could Mom do that?" she cried to Sarah, who held her as she sobbed. The invasion felt like a public shaming, stripping away her control over her own story. But Emily didn't confront Margaret yet. Instead, she decided to fight back subtly. She invited Sarah over for a friend dinner, testing the waters. Margaret was polite but cold, her eyes darting between them. After Sarah left, Margaret cornered Emily. "She's influencing you. End it now." Emily refused, her resolve hardening. "I won't. This is my life." The standoff intensified. Margaret cut off Emily's access to the family car, claiming it needed repairs. Petty but effective in isolating her. Emily felt trapped, the walls closing in. In a moment of weakness, Emily considered breaking up with Sarah to restore peace. But as she lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, she realized the cost. Her authenticity. "If I give in now, I'll resent her forever," she thought. The chapter closed with Emily making a call to a therapist specializing in LGBTQ+ issues. It was her first step toward independence, but the road ahead promised more pain. The therapy session was a revelation. Dr. Harlan, a kind-faced woman in her 40s, listened without judgment as Emily poured out her story. "You're not broken, Emily. Your feelings are valid." For the first time, Emily felt seen, not sinful. Emboldened, she confronted Margaret about the family gossip. "You told Aunt Karen? Now everyone knows before I'm ready." Margaret defended herself. "I needed advice. This affects the whole family." "The whole family? It's my life," Emily shouted. The argument spilled into the living room, where her brother Jake, a high school senior, overheard. He looked confused, hurt. "What's going on?" Margaret pulled him aside later, framing it as Emily's confusion. Jake, influenced by his mother's views, distanced himself, avoiding Emily's gaze. Sarah became Emily's lifeline. They spent more time together. Sarah's apartment a safe haven. But even there, doubts crept in. Sarah came from an accepting family. Her parents had celebrated her coming out. "Why can't your mom just love you as you are?" Sarah asked one night as they cooked dinner. Emily sighed. "She's scared. Of what people think of hell, maybe." The societal pressure weighed heavy. At work, Emily overheard colleagues joking about those lesbians in HR. She bit her tongue, fearing outing herself. Seattle was progressive, but pockets of conservatism lingered, especially in tech-bro culture. Margaret escalated. She scheduled a family intervention with Father Reynolds. Emily arrived home to find the priest and her aunt, who had flown in, waiting. "We're here to help you," Father said. Emily felt ambushed. "Help? This is an attack." The session devolved into pleas and accusations. Margaret tearfully recounted Emily's childhood, how she'd sacrificed everything. "Don't throw it away for this." Emily stormed out, driving to Sarah's. "They think they can pray it away," she fumed. Sarah suggested couples therapy, but Emily hesitated. "It's not us, it's them." But the divide grew. Jake, torn, confided in Emily. "Mom says it's wrong. But you're my sister." His words offered a glimmer of hope, but Margaret quashed it, forbidding him from enabling her. Then came a pivotal decision. Emily decided to move out. She found a small apartment near work, packing in secret. When Margaret discovered the boxes, she broke down. "You're abandoning us?" "I'm saving myself," Emily replied, her voice steady despite the tears. The move was liberating yet lonely. Sarah helped furnish the place, their relationship deepening. But guilt lingered. Emily sent money home, still the provider. Margaret, reeling, turned to extremes. She joined a support group for parents of wayward children, where stories of disownment were shared. One mother boasted of cutting ties until her son repented. Margaret shuddered but absorbed the rhetoric. The betrayal deepened when Margaret contacted Sarah directly. Finding her number from Emily's old phone bill, she called. Leave my daughter alone. You're ruining her. Sarah was stunned but firm. I love Emily. She's an adult. Emily learned of the call from Sarah, rage boiling over. She drove home confronting Margaret. You crossed the line. Margaret stood her ground. I'm protecting you. The shouting match ended with Emily declaring, if you can't accept me, you're out of my life. She left, slamming the door again. In the aftermath, Emily threw herself into work and therapy. Dr. Harlan helped unpack the internalized homophobia. Your mother's love is conditional. That's her issue, not yours. Sarah proposed they go public, attending a pride event. Emily agreed, a small act of defiance. Photos on social media sparked more family backlash, cousins unfriending her. Jake reached out secretly. I miss you, sis. Mom's a mess without you. Emily's heart ached. She invited him over, explaining her side. Jake listened, his views shifting. If it makes you happy, why not? But Margaret discovered the visit, grounding Jake. Her isolation tactics backfired, pushing him toward Emily. The tension peaked at a family wedding. Emily attended with Sarah as her friend, but whispers followed. Margaret ignored them, but during the reception she pulled Emily aside. This has to stop. Think of your future. Emily snapped. My future includes Sarah. Aunt Karen intervened, quoting scripture. The scene drew attention, embarrassing Margaret. Back home, Margaret reflected. Was her faith worth losing her daughter? She prayed, but doubt crept in. Emily, meanwhile, faced her own moral quandary. Should she cut ties completely? The thought pained her, but self-preservation demanded it. As the file closed, Emily received a promotion at work, a symbol of her independence. But success felt hollow without family reconciliation. The promotion brought stability, but the emotional void persisted. Emily and Sarah's relationship flourished in their bubble, weekend hikes in the Cascades, cozy nights watching films. Yet, the shadow of family loomed. Margaret's health declined subtly, stress-induced migraines, sleepless nights. She confided in Father Reynolds, who suggested reconciliation. Love the sinner, hate the sin. But Margaret struggled. She missed Emily's laughter, the family unity. In a moment of vulnerability, she wrote a letter. I don't understand, but I want to try. Emily received it, torn. Part of her yearned for connection. Another feared more hurt. She discussed it with Sarah. What if it's a trap? Give her a chance, Sarah advised. But set boundaries. They met at a neutral cafe. Margaret was nervous, fidgeting with her coffee. I'm sorry for the intervention. I was scared. Emily nodded. Scared of what? Me being happy. Of losing you to something I don't approve of. Margaret's honesty disarmed Emily. They talked for hours, Margaret asking questions about Sarah. It wasn't perfect, but a crack in the armor appeared. Margaret agreed to meet Sarah properly. The dinner was awkward. Margaret asked about Sarah's work, avoiding personal topics. Sarah shared stories of helping queer youth, subtly challenging Margaret's views. As they left, Margaret hugged Emily. I love you no matter what. But the no matter what felt conditional. Progress stalled when Margaret invited them to church. Just try it. Emily declined, sensing an agenda. Then a crisis hit. Jake got into a fight at school defending Emily from bullies who called her slurs after hearing family gossip. He came home with a black eye. Margaret blamed Emily. See what your choices cause. Emily rushed over. This is because of ignorance, Mom, not me. The incident forced reflection. Margaret attended a PFLAG meeting, hearing stories from other parents. One shared, I almost lost my daughter. Acceptance saved us. Margaret wept, realizing her actions mirrored those horror stories. Meanwhile, Emily faced workplace discrimination. A coworker outed her after seeing pride photos, leading to subtle exclusion from projects. She reported it to HR, but the process was grueling. Sarah supported her, but their relationship strained under external pressures. Sometimes I wonder if it's worth it, Emily admitted. Don't say that, Sarah pleaded. We're stronger together. A turning point came when Margaret called Emily. I went to a meeting for parents like me. It opened my eyes. They met again. Margaret admitted. I was wrong to contact Sarah to spread rumors. Fear drove me. Emily forgave tentatively. It hurt, Mom. Deeply. Rebuilding began slowly. Margaret read books on LGBTQ+ issues, questioning her faith's rigid interpretations. But old habits died hard. At a family gathering, Margaret slipped, making a comment about traditional marriage. Emily called her out, leaving early. The backlash. Margaret felt attacked, retreating. She confided in her sister, who reinforced conservative views. Don't give in. Torn, Margaret chose sides, temporarily aligning with family pressure. She canceled a planned lunch with Emily and Sarah. Emily felt the sting of rejection anew. Just when I thought we were progressing. Sarah suggested space. Let her come to you. Jake became the bridge, sneaking visits. He shared Margaret's struggles. She's trying, but it's hard. Emily appreciated his loyalty, but the moral dilemma weighed. How much should she sacrifice for family? The file intensified with a societal confrontation. Emily volunteered at a local LGBTQ+ center, speaking at an event. A video went viral locally, drawing hate comments, including one from an anonymous account tracing back to a family friend. Margaret saw it, horrified. She confronted the friend, defending Emily for the first time. That's my daughter you're attacking. The act marked a shift. Margaret called Emily. I'm proud of you standing up. Emily was cautious. Actions over words, Mom. As tension simmered, Emily proposed a family therapy session. Margaret agreed, a step toward healing. But underlying conflicts bubbled. Sarah felt sidelined, questioning if Emily prioritized family over them. Family therapy was raw. The therapist, neutral ground, facilitated as Margaret voiced fears. I worry about her soul, her future. Emily countered. My soul is fine. Your judgment hurts more than any sin. Jake mediated, sharing his growth. I accept Emily. Why can't you? Margaret broke down, admitting childhood indoctrination. My parents were strict. I thought I was protecting you. Insights emerged. Margaret revealed her own suppressed doubts about faith, sparked by Emily's situation. Post-session progress showed. Margaret invited Sarah to a family barbecue, no church talk. The event was tentative success. Relatives were polite, though whispers lingered. Sarah charmed Jake, discussing college plans. But betrayal lurked. Aunt Karen, uninvited but showing up, cornered Sarah. You're leading her astray. Sarah stood firm. Love isn't astray. Emily overheard, ejecting her aunt. Leave if you can't respect us. Margaret backed Emily a first. Karen, that's enough. The stand empowered Margaret, but cost her sister's relationship. Karen stopped calling. Emily appreciated the sacrifice. Thank you, Mom. Their bond strengthened. Margaret attended another PFLAG meeting with Emily, listening to stories. Yet, internal conflicts persisted. Emily grappled with resentment. In therapy alone, she admitted, part of me hates her for the pain. Dr. Harlan encouraged forgiveness. It's for you, not her. Sarah's patience waned. I'm happy for your family, but what about us? We've been through hell. Emily reassured her, planning a romantic getaway to the San Juan Islands. There they reconnected, discussing future marriage, kids. But reality intruded. Upon return, Emily learned Margaret had donated to an anti-LGBTQ+ organization years ago. Jake found old receipts. Confrontation ensued. How could you support that, knowing now? Margaret explained. It was before. I've changed. Emily doubted. Have you? The argument reopened wounds. Margaret felt accused unjustly. I'm trying. What more do you want? Full acceptance, Emily demanded. The standoff led to a break. Emily limited contact, focusing on Sarah. Sarah proposed. On a sunset beach, ring in hand. Marry me, Em. Emily said yes, joy mixed with sorrow. But without family. They planned a small wedding, inviting Margaret tentatively. Margaret wrestled morally. Attend and betray faith? Or miss and lose daughter? She sought counsel from a progressive priest who said, love is God's command. Inspired, Margaret RSVP'd yes. But family pressure mounted. Cousins boycotted, calling it immoral. Margaret stood firm, but the toll showed weight loss anxiety. At the wedding rehearsal, tension peaked. A relative crashed, quoting Bible verses. Emily exploded. "Get out." Margaret escorted them away. "This is my daughter's day." The act cemented her shift, but exhausted her. Post-rehearsal, Emily thanked her. That meant everything. The wedding day arrived, beautiful under Seattle skies. Vows exchanged, tears flowed. Margaret watched, pride swelling. But doubt lingered. Was this right? After, at the reception, Margaret toasted to love in all forms. Cheers erupted, but not all joined. The honeymoon was blissful, but upon return, reality hit. Workplace promotion for Emily came with relocation offer to San Francisco. Decision time. Move for career, or stay for fragile family ties? Emily chose the move, prioritizing her life with Sarah. Margaret reacted poorly. "You're leaving us?" "It's an opportunity," Emily said. The choice felt like betrayal to Margaret. "After all we've rebuilt?" Emily stood her ground. "You pushed me away first." The move to San Francisco was a fresh start. Emily's new role at a progressive tech company suited her, with inclusive policies. Sarah transferred her studies, thriving in the vibrant queer community. But distance strained family ties. Calls with Margaret were strained, small talk masking unresolved issues. Jake visited first, loving the city. "Mom misses you, but she's proud." Margaret followed months later, her first trip alone. The visit was eye-opening, seeing Emily and Sarah's home, their happiness. Over dinner, Margaret opened up. "I regret so much. The intervention, the calls." Emily listened. "It damaged us." "I know. Can you forgive?" Emily paused. "I'm trying." The visit ended positively, Margaret hugging Sarah goodbye. "Take care of her." Back in Seattle, Margaret faced her own awakening. She volunteered at the LGBTQ+ center Emily once spoke at, helping parents. Her transformation inspired others but alienated old friends. Church members distanced, whispering about her fall. Margaret questioned her faith deeply. If love is wrong, what is right? A health scare, a minor heart episode, brought Emily rushing back. At the hospital, she held Margaret's hand. "Don't scare me like that." Margaret smiled weakly. "Life's too short for grudges." The incident prompted honesty. Margaret confessed a secret. In her youth, she'd had feelings for a female friend, suppressed. Emily was shocked. "Why didn't you say?" "Fear. Like I imposed on you." The revelation humanized Margaret, bridging gaps. Recovery bonded them. Emily stayed weeks, Sarah joining. But mending brought new conflicts. Sarah felt Emily prioritized Margaret again. "We're building our life too." Emily balanced, but tension simmered. A moral crossroads arose when Margaret's church split over LGBTQ+ inclusion. She advocated for acceptance, facing backlash. At a town hall, she spoke. "My daughter taught me love transcends doctrine." Applause from some, boos from others. She lost her position in the women's group. The sacrifice touched Emily. "You didn't have to." "I did. For you, for me." Emily's career soared, but personal costs mounted. A miscarriage after starting fertility treatments devastated her and Sarah. Margaret flew down, offering comfort without judgment. "I'm here." Her support healed old wounds. Yet society intruded. A national debate on gay rights flared with protests. Emily marched, Sarah by her side. Margaret watched on TV, then joined a local rally, her first. Photos of her with a sign, "Proud mom of a lesbian daughter." Emily saw it online, tears flowing. She's come so far. But the journey wasn't linear. A family reunion brought confrontation. Relatives shunned Margaret for her betrayal of values. She stood alone, Emily calling support. "You're not alone." The isolation hit Margaret hard, leading to depression. Emily intervened, suggesting therapy for her. Margaret attended, unpacking decades of conditioning. As bonds strengthened, Emily faced her own betrayal echo. A coworker, jealous, spread rumors about her orientation affecting work. HR investigated, clearing her, but trust eroded. Sarah urged resilience. "We've overcome worse." The file built to a climax. Margaret's full acceptance. She hosted a belated reception in Seattle for Emily and Sarah's marriage, inviting open-minded friends. Toasts celebrated love's triumph. But underlying questions lingered. At what cost? The reception was a milestone, laughter filling the backyard. Margaret watched Emily and Sarah dance, her heart full yet heavy with the price paid. Lost friends, strained relatives. Post-event life normalized. Regular visits, holidays shared. Jake came out as bi, Margaret supporting without hesitation. Emily marveled. You've changed so much. Margaret reflected. Losing you would have been worse. But scars remained. Emily occasionally woke from nightmares of rejection. In San Francisco they adopted a child, a baby girl. Margaret flew in, cradling her granddaughter. She's perfect. The family expanded, love prevailing. Yet, societal battles continued. A discriminatory law proposed in Washington state prompted Emily's activism. She testified, sharing her story. Margaret joined, speaking as a parent. Don't let fear divide families. Their testimony helped defeat the bill. A shared victory. Personal growth continued. Margaret wrote a blog about her journey, helping others. Emily co-authored, their bond unbreakable. But the story's core, choices and costs, culminated in reflection. Emily pondered. Had she forgiven too easily? Margaret. Was her initial stance unforgivable? The narrative wove through damages, emotional wounds, lost time, fractured relationships. In the end, redemption shone, but not without shadows. As the family gathered for the child's first birthday, peace reigned. Yet, the question lingered. In the pursuit of acceptance, did Margaret's initial betrayal justify the lifelong pain she caused her daughter, or was her transformation enough to absolve her?